And welcome, and we are along with State Representative Jeff Shawan of the 153rd District, representing here some of Southeast Missouri. And Jeff, it's good to have you back. We had you on about a month ago, and
I know.
back to do a little follow-up on what's happening in Jefferson City at the Capitol. So it's good to have you back.
Thanks for having me, and can't wait to give a little bit of a legislative update. We can go 2 or 3 hours if you want. Tyler.
Well, might not have that.
A lot has happened since we spoke
has.
last.
Yeah, I know. First off, we'll start off with the coronavirus. That's dominated the news the last couple of weeks, and of course, this originated over in China about a month, probably. We don't know exactly when, but it really started coming into the news about a month ago. It's really started in China, and it's worked its way around the globe, and it's worked its way finally over the last couple of months here into our area, and that's why I'd like to kind of have you touch on it here from get a local message. I know the Washington and New York news bureaus out there kind of having it from their standpoint, but a little different right here in the Midwest. So maybe get what's the message from the Capitol in Jefferson City right now?
Yeah, so I would say that the message to first of all say is that by the time anybody views this, it's probably already changed again.
Yeah.
Because two things are happening. One is as we get more information, we're responding in bigger and bigger ways. And at the same time, the rumors and the rumor mongering has just gone off the chart. So I guess the first thing I would say is don't panic, but let's start taking measures. So particularly if you're over the age of 65, be very careful. Practice good hygiene. Wash your hands a lot. If you don't have to go to an event that's got a big crowd of people, take a pass on that. Here's the thing: the little bit that we know, and it's not very much about the coronavirus, is that the actual death rate is relatively low. It's like 1% or less. Now, if you're part of that 1%, that's really bad. But the point is, it doesn't. Numerically, statistically, it doesn't kill a lot of people. The unfortunate thing is, it seems to be much more lethal for people who are older and who are maybe immunosuppressed, and then that number, the death rate, begins to go up exponentially. So, in fact, in the region at this moment, while we're discussing this, nursing homes are on lockdown, and you can't get in to see your loved one right now. If you have a loved one or a friend in a nursing home, as far as I know, every nursing home is on lockdown. That's very difficult, and it makes people unhappy. It's probably a good measure.
Yeah, it's appropriate.
I would say there's no telling how many lives President Trump has saved because he stopped travel from China. I think back in January, because in China and in Europe, it's just going wild right now. And right now we've got cases and we've had some deaths, but compared to the rest of the world, we seem to be in good shape. We'll see. This thing is virulent. It's easy to catch. Here's the reason it's so difficult to confine this is because you are infectious and infecting other people before you ever feel ill.
Yeah.
So by the time you feel symptoms, you may have already infected dozens of people, and that's where the difficulty of this thing is.
And people need to understand it's a virus.
It's
and
a
that
virus.
you think of the flu, just think of precautions you would take if you had the flu. Well, you wouldn't go to church. You would stay home from work. You would not go to big gatherings. It works the same way.
It's the same way.
And you think of, we talk about the mortality rate, and a lot of that, like you said, is if you've got someone elderly that's got a chronic illness. How many times have we known someone that if they've got a chronic illness, they're elderly, they get a bout of pneumonia, and then they pass away?
Well, they get the flu and they die.
Yeah, right.
The flu, I believe, has killed 18 to 20,000 people in the United States this year, just the flu. Forget about coronavirus.
Yeah.
I think the difficulty with the coronavirus is not so much that the death rate is so high, but rather that it's so virulent. You're infectious and you have no clue. You feel just fine.
Yeah.
And you've been infecting people potentially for days and days before you ever get the first symptom. That's the problem with this thing. That being said, just don't panic, don't overreact, just do common sense measures. The older you are, maybe the more you should restrict crowds that you go to, and by all means, as soon as you have any kind of symptoms, go find out, well, what is it I have? Because the sooner we can find out someone is infected with the coronavirus, then the health department can track down and try to find the extent of what might be the spread. And that's how I have no idea if we're going to be successful or not, but right now it looks like we're doing a good job with what we know.
Yeah.
So.
And it seems like it's fine. I say finally. It was inevitable that it would make its way into our area, and I think over in Greene County, over Springfield area, they had a couple cases, and I think even here in the greater southeast Missouri, southern Illinois area, there's been a couple that's been. I know that in Jonesboro, northeast Arkansas, I think they had one at least. So it's
could be. I hadn't heard that one, but look, by the time you hear this, it's possible the governor might declare a state of emergency, and all that's going to do is just raise the level of caution in the things that we do to try to contain this. Because, if it's going to move around, and I think it will, we can't stop that, but we can contain it. The more we limit the exposure, the more lives we're going to save. That's why I'm saying it was amazingly wise for the president to stop China travel, and then here just in the last few days he stopped travel from Europe, because they didn't do that, and so they have amazingly high infectious rates. I think in Italy, it's going wild in Italy,
right?
And so we want to try to keep that from happening if we can.
Sure. So just take extra precaution. I would suggest going online. Go to the Center for Disease Control.
Yes.
I wouldn't hang out on news very much. I tell you, on the news, it's all over the place, and they're just kind of pitching you stuff more than anything. So I would really follow the Center for Disease Control, CDC.gov, and really stick to that when it comes to precautions and everything like that. Because if you get into the news channels, they're going to be pitching you a lot of stuff that it's probably going to be just not really helpful, I would say, in a lot of ways.
Well, and look, they're after ratings. The old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. So they're going to look to try to create as many viewers as they can. In the process, I think they've already done some damage and caused. If you panic, then you don't make the best move. So let's just let's raise our level of caution, raise our level of protection, and be methodical about it, but not overreact. And panic is not a good thing.
Sure. So we'll transition to some other things going on at the Capitol. Jeff,
Yes.
we had you on about a month ago talking about some legislation you were introducing in the House up at Jefferson City, and you got some news to come back and share with us to follow up with.
Yes, okay. So a bill that I co-sponsored, it was sponsored by Representative Hansen, and it was against the Grain Belt Express, which is a move for a private company, to build electric lines across the state of Missouri to sell in Indiana, and it took them 5 years to break down the Public Service Commission, but they won, and they're using the tool of eminent domain to sell power, very little in Missouri, a little bit so that they can get the PSC on board with it, but they're going to sell wind energy profitably in Indiana and Illinois, and they're trampling on the rights of basically cattle farmers. They're saying, too bad that you've had this farm in your family for 100 years. We're going to put a line across it. Oh, but don't worry, we're going to pay you. So what it does is it takes the right of it's an attack on private property rights. And the reason I'm bringing that up is, look, if you think that won't happen to us in farming in southeast Missouri, then I'm not sure what you're drinking, so we have to fight that. So here's the great news. It passed out of the House in an overwhelming vote. I don't remember the vote count, but it's probably 125 yeses. And we did that early, and it got sent over to the Senate. We've got to get it on the floor in the Senate. So any senator that you talk to, whether it's your state senator or any other state senator, tell them, pass that House bill, and I'll give you the number here in a minute. Pass that out of the Senate. Let's get to the governor's desk. I do believe the governor is likely to sign it if it comes out clean, and we need to get that passed because it's us protecting your private property rights, and that's very important, I think, to Missourians. All right, where is that? I think it's 20. There it is. House Bill 2033. That needs to pass out of the Senate and go to the governor's desk and get signed. It's protecting your private property rights. You don't want the government coming in and exercising eminent domain for some company that's just making profit. There's a use for eminent domain. That's not a proper use for it. So I'm fighting for private property rights of everybody in Missouri, but particularly the agricultural community, which is who is getting picked on in northern Missouri. So we're looking out for that. So that's moving forward. That looks really good. It could end up on the governor's desk.
Yeah. That seems pretty easy for anyone out there.
Yeah,
you know, we're in rural America. You know, that stuff just seems easy. You know,
if we were building a highway through your land, and that's good for all Missourians, and it has to be done. That's what eminent domain is for. It's not for some company who we don't even know who the owners are to make billions by selling electricity profitably in Indiana, because they have to go from Kansas to Indiana across northern Missouri, and I think there's like 600 property owners that will have to give up. Doesn't mean they'll buy their land, but they're going to say, we're going right across your land and you can't stop us. It's outrageous, isn't it? It makes me angry. I'm smiling, but it makes me angry.
Right.
But we're fighting the good fight on that. So, but we need pressure for tell any state senator, whether it's your state senator or not, pass House Bill 2033 out of the Senate. Let's get that to the governor's desk.
Sure. All right. Anything else?
Oh boy.
I know there's plenty. Jeff's working hard.
I said, can we have 2 or 3 hours?
Yeah, Jeff's working hard.
So we talked about last time. I think we should bring everybody up to date because I kicked a hornet's nest.
Yeah.
I created a tax bill that's designed to not raise any taxes. It's a tax bill to discourage the destruction of innocent babies. And the way that the bill is designed is if you're an institution of higher learning and you support the abortion industry, you provide abortion doctors at Planned Parenthood, you train doctors on how to abort babies and how to harvest baby parts, then we're going to tax you almost 2% of your endowment. And there's only one institution in Missouri that's upset. No other university has complained to me about my bill. It's Washington University. And what we've been able to find out is that they've been providing most of the doctors for the only remaining Planned Parenthood facility in Missouri. They provide fellowships, training, and support. I think either 6 or 7 of the 8 doctors that are slaughtering babies at Planned Parenthood, and a lot of those are minority babies. I mean, it's amazing who gets killed in this whole thing, and all it says is stop. If you stop this, you'll have to pay the tax. If you pay the tax, then the government does not enjoy any of those extra revenues, which in the case of Washington U would be about $150 million. That then enacts a tax cut. So you and I would get a tax cut if they paid that tax. We don't want them to pay the tax. All we want them to do is stop killing babies. Well, so that it got ignored at first, but then my bill got referred to general laws. The lobbying efforts from Washington University and the attacks on me began to move up. And so there was a lot of behind the scenes maneuvering going on, but week before last it was heard in general laws. Interesting thing, when we under oath in the hearing, the lobbyists for Washington University admitted, and it's going to come as a shock, I think, to a lot of your audience. They admitted under oath that they do what they call fetal tissue research at Washington University. And fetal tissue is a nice sounding name for baby body parts. So Washington University has now admitted that they're using baby body parts to do research, and we believe, we don't have that testimony yet, but we believe it's for human cloning. So it's a deep, dark secret at Washington University, and I got a nasty letter from their board of trustees or their board of directors attacking me for my bill. I don't know that those board members understood my bill. I don't know that they know that this was going on, this kind of research is going on at Washington University. So what we're trying to do is shine light on what's really going on at Washington University. We put some questions to them in the hearing, and they didn't have the answers. They promised to answer. We're insisting that they answer questions about what are they doing with baby body parts and how are they getting those parts. It is illegal in the state of Missouri to sell harvested baby body parts or to pay for baby body parts in Missouri. So we want to know how they got those, what it is that they're doing. But what we want is for them to not pay the tax. Just stop killing babies. What we believe we have found out about Washington University is not only are they creating this curse in Missouri, but we believe they're training specialized abortion doctors, especially skilled, I think, in aborting baby body parts, harvesting baby body parts, but training abortion doctors and sending them all over the United States. It's just horrifying that this is going on in Missouri. So this bill has got voted this week out of general laws, and it has to pass through rules, and then we're going to the floor. If we get to the floor, we're going to debate it. That'll be interesting to watch. Everybody will want to go to house.mo.gov and see what that exchange is going to be like. They're going to be coming after me on the floor, I promise. But I like to say I'm a happy warrior. We're fighting for life. This is bigger than me. It's bigger than any one individual. This is an opportunity for us to stop and shutter the last Planned Parenthood facility in Missouri, stop the slaughter of innocent babies, and hopefully stop the exporting of abortion doctors throughout the Midwest and the United States. So it's exciting stuff here in the next few weeks, depending on what happens with the coronavirus and what that does to session, because the Senate's already announced they're gone for 2 weeks. So things are going to slow down. I can't control that, but I would just tell you that say prayers about this bill and the things that we're going to be doing and that will empower us to hopefully save babies' lives in the state of Missouri. I'm excited about that.
Sure, and that knowing the dollar value on that that potential tax, what's that endowment of around $8-9 billion?
Their endowment is estimated at $8 billion. The tax is 1.9% per year, which would be I think the analysis was around $157 billion that they would be subject to if they insist on continuing to train abortion doctors and provide support to Planned Parenthood. All they have to do is stop that. Then they don't have the tax. It's a voluntary tax. They don't have to pay it. But if they were to pay it, if they had a big benefactor says, well, by golly, this is important, we're going to pay for it, then Missourians would get a tax break. It's designed to be revenue neutral. We're not taxing to raise revenue for the state of Missouri. What we're doing is we're stopping abortion doctors. So it is a pro-life bill is really what it is.
Sure. I know that dollar figure there is going to raise some heads, and it certainly looks like it's done that up there.
$150 million is, in my world, that's a big number. I bet it is in your world too.
So certainly things shaking up there at the capital of Jefferson City. Certainly the coronavirus really starting to make its way to the Midwest, and we'll see what happens up at the Capitol. You said the Senate's out for 2 weeks. We'll see what happens going forward. Probably be looking forward to Governor Parson and his communications this next week. That'll be important. Yeah. I'm sure I think he was in Greene County yesterday or the last few days to touch on what was going on over there, and just keep your eye out for Governor Parson's communications over the next week. I'm sure he'll be out there talking about quite a bit, and when it pertains to the state and state government across Missouri.
Yeah, I think the governor and the Department of Health and Senior Services, led by Dr. Williams, are absolutely on top of, and I've been staying in touch with the emergency management community. You know, I have a background in that, and they're meeting, I mean, daily, almost hourly, and they're taking the information and rapidly doing the best they can with it. So that's, you know, that's what we want. I mean, that's all hands on deck. Governor's doing a good job of leading. The state is being responsive and moving quickly with these things as they move forward. Test kit ability is getting ready to go up voluminously, and so I think in a matter of days or maybe a few weeks, then we'll really know actually what the full extent of our problem is. We know we have one. Question is, what is the full extent of it? In the meantime, don't panic, don't overreact, and just take. The older you are, the more careful you need to be. And I'm in that I'm in that category. The calendar doesn't lie.
But yeah, just being extra cautious. Taking extra precautions at this time is certainly wise and appropriate for the time. And time will take care of a lot of this. We just need time. And I know the markets are going crazy. It's just unbelievable what's happened in the markets. But just be patient, and time, especially coming into the spring here, the warmth will certainly help. And we've had it pretty warm here recently, so hopefully that'll help. But time may give us a couple weeks, a month, and it might take months before we're totally past this and putting it behind us. But patience is going to be key in all this.
Yeah, it is, and just don't panic.
Yeah,
very good.
Sure. Anything else, Jeff, you'd like to share with our viewers out there?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I guess the other thing that I would toss out is that we've been moving forward with some Second Amendment issues. My bill, which makes it legal to conceal carry, if you're a concealed carry license holder in Missouri right now, it's illegal for you to concealed carry in church, which I think is crazy. And we saw that Texas incident where a gunman came in and he killed 2 people almost instantly with a shotgun before he was shot dead by a man that was in church. Man, he just stood up and nailed him, stopped it, right? But, church is a shooting gallery. The idea, why in the world would the law say you cannot conceal carry in church? I want to be able to shoot back. And so I filed that bill. The NRA came to my office and told me they loved that bill. And then they asked me also to file a bill that prohibits state funds being used for a buyback program. These buyback programs are silly, and that's another attack on the Second Amendment. I filed that bill. That needs to get referred. But also the Second Amendment Preservation Act was heard in general laws last week, and so it's going to be voted on and out of committee, and it's probably going to get to the floor. So things are moving in that area. So two of my bills have been referred. One is a bill that says that if you're a veteran and you have an honorable discharge, you don't have to prove that you know how to use a gun in order to get a concealed carry license. And then the other one is my church bill. Those have both been referred to general laws. I'm hoping to get those out of committee, so maybe we've got a shot at getting them on the floor. But things are moving in the Second Amendment arena as well, and so it's an interesting session for sure.
Yeah, it is. One of the most interesting I've seen in a good while. So
we'll come back with more on, especially that. I will tell you, the whole nation of pro-life support is focused on this endowment tax bill of mine, which exposes Washington University, because they're seeing that as a way, maybe nationally, to go after and stop the slaughter of innocent babies across the United States. So the eyes of the pro-life community are on that bill. If you're a praying person, pray that we move forward with that bill, and keep an eye on it. It's a bill, I think it's 1522. Yes, House Bill 1522, and it's moving, so keep an eye on that.
All
and
right.
We'll get back and let you know what's going on.
Sure, we'll keep an eye on that, and I look forward to you coming back and doing another follow-up as session continues up in Jefferson City. at the Capitol. So a lot going on. And Jeff, we appreciate you coming by and sharing with us everything that's going on up there and your efforts up in the legislature. And hopefully next time we'll be a little bit further past this virus stuff and get back to kind of normal routine. Can you believe everything that's happening? I mean, all the sports leagues canceling everything.
It's crazy.
No March Madness this year. Can you believe that? No March Madness tournament.
That's a national tragedy. I will tell you that, I mean, I may be right back in here in a couple of days with you. This thing is so rapidly developing, and we might want to do some updates just because you just need to know what the actual facts are.
Yeah.
And so we're only going to report, what we know or what we believe that we know based on experts and not rumor mongering, and how is it affecting Missouri and in particular Southeast Missouri. So you and I'll let you know what's going on with the state, almost moment by moment as it evolves, because it is very important. I pray we have no deaths in Southeast Missouri or in our state from this Wuhan coronavirus. Good grief.
Unbelievable.
God bless everybody.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I'm relatively fairly young, but man, this is
you're relatively young,
fairly whatever.
Well, I'm relatively young too, and I can be your dad.
Yeah, but for me to say something I've never seen anything like this doesn't mean a whole lot, I guess. 'Cause I've only been around 30 plus years, so but it is unreal that something like this can just do so much and interrupt so many things. So
it is a pandemic, and so we have to treat it seriously.
Sure. All right, Jeff, we appreciate you spending some time with us. Again, Jeff Shawan, state representative here in Southeast Missouri, representing the 153rd District, and appreciate him coming in and talk about all the legislation and other things happening at the Capitol in Jefferson City. And Jeff, we'll be welcoming you back probably pretty soon.
So maybe, yeah. Thank you, Tyler. Take care.
All right.